time to have fun. Business people, lots of ideas. You need some advice, come right here. Dreams with Leaders is here.
I was hoping you were going to say, like, sing the end of the song. Like, it's always so catchy. I always catch myself singing it. And then I'm like, not in public, Aaron. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. I'm hoping I'm not in my bathroom, so I'm hoping my wife doesn't like open a bunch of doors in the kitchen, and then I'm really unprofessional. How are you doing?
You be nice to your wife.
Yes.
I'm so excited about our panel today.
Mm-hmm.
We literally just looked at and we were like, oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock. We got to get on. Because we are
well, not only that,
like
we don't really even need to talk because our panel are just both all really, really well-known, I guess, Kansas City celebrities. I like to say business celebrities because I'm a business nerd, but I think they all kind of transcend business a little bit.
Yeah, no, I would even argue. I mean, they all have their own podcasts. They all have their own shows. They're like real celebrities too, not just business celebrities, like real celebrities.
And having all our friends on at the same time was actually a coincidence. I think it's one of the times we have people that have their own podcasts, and so we got to make sure that we plug those because they won't do it. They're very humble. But it's exciting. So you ready for me to bust out the music?
Hold on. I have some exciting news right before we start. Remember, we've got an exciting news. All right. So we have been trying to figure out what's next, what's exciting, what can we do to set this show, make it your show, make it where you get a say in it, make it so you know that we're going live, all of the things. And so essentially, I've decided to just hand out my phone number. So here is my text line. 913-298-8790. We want you to text right now. Just text in Drinks with Leaders. And then that way we have you in our contacts. If you ever have any suggestions for the show, if we've got some, if we book some really exciting guests, I'm really I always want to tell everybody. So you'll be first to know. We'll remind you when we're going live. So you'll be able to jump on and ask questions. So essentially, we just want you guys to text in 913-298-8790. And then also let us know if you're watching this on live or on the replay because we want to know who all is jumping on here. So it looks like we've already got some people joining us. Oh, thank you, Kat. She loves my earrings. Thank you. Daniel's on here. Hey, Daniel. That's a former guest right there. And then Jawad. Hi, Jawad. So we are excited to have you guys be even more a part of this show. So make sure I'll tell you the phone number one more time. We'll show you at the end too. 913-298-8790. Just text Drinks with Leaders and you'll get to be on top of our list. So now I'm ready to introduce everyone. You got the music ready?
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Love it. All right. Very first, get a little closer so we can hear. Very first on deck is actually my mentor. She's becoming more like a family member. She even takes my calls on the weekends. I love her to death, and she's one of my favorite people and probably everybody's favorite people in the entire world, Dr. Michelle Robin.
Hey, Scott and Aaron. What a fun Drinks with Leaders. Thanks for inviting me.
We're so excited. Okay, our next guest, and I'm just going to be real. You guys know I'm sometimes too authentic, Michelle Robin says, is Mr. Zeke. And Zeke, can you say your last name for us?
So it's Zeke Nganga. Zeke Nganga.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
And then last, but definitely not least, he's a little bit fun. Welcome, Mr. Paul J. Long.
Let's go.
Here we go. Who's going to run out of energy first?
Cadillac driving.
I thought
guys.
Are we drinking? I thought we were drinking.
I'm always drinking.
You guys all got your drinks. All right, I'm just gonna do this, and okay. I'm gonna drink the whole bottle since you guys got cups.
You probably were the healthiest out of everyone. That looks like you worked out and you're hydrating.
I try to stay healthy. Just try just a little bit.
There you go.
So,
your shout out, Zeke.
We are going to get right in. Aaron, do you want anything before we start drilling into questions?
No, I just know there's going to be a ton of questions for these people. So I would say start getting your questions in ASAP. I noticed the past couple of weeks, there was a lot of questions we weren't able to get to because our guests just keep getting more popular and more popular. So get your questions in so we can get to them. I'll let you run it from here.
Dr. Robin, I think we all learn whenever we ask everyone their personal background stories of how they got to Kansas City. Even good friends learn something new. So kind of give us, that 5-6 minute elevator pitch of how you got to Kansas City and how you grew your business to what it is today.
Well, once again, thanks for having me on the show today. It's always fun to hang out with you too, no matter who else is around. And Paul's a new friend of mine the last couple of weeks. And Zeke, hey, I'm excited to learn more about you. So give everybody a shout out here. I came to Kansas City. It's hard to believe, over 30 years ago, 32 in September, to come to chiropractic, to go to the chiropractic college here. We have one of the legacy chiropractic institutions in Kansas City, Cleveland Chiropractic University, or Cleveland University. Now they dropped the chiropractic because they do other professional programs as well besides chiropractic. So I was fortunate enough to come here in 1988. Yes, I'm aging myself. And Zeke, you weren't even a thought in your parents' eyes yet. But came here to go to chiropractic school, and it has been such a wonderful ride. I knew one family, and it was the family that helped me in ninth grade. My parents, my mom went through her second divorce about this time, and the Fingston family really started loving me up in Southeast Kansas. I went to high school in Parsons, and so I came to Kansas City, and they happened to be the only family I knew in Kansas City in '88. How cool is that? And so probably a fact that a lot of people don't know is I was a referee. I refereed volleyball, basketball, and softball throughout my college years. Woo-hoo, yeah, there you go, a little bit of softball action. And then I did Division II, all the way up to Division II in basketball. Did a lot of the high school. I learned the city by the old style map. We did not have MapQuest back then. And so I learned Kansas City because I would go to all the high schools to call the games. And so that's probably a little unknown fact. And there's a saying, those who can't play coach and those who can't coach referee. So there you go. There's a little chuckle there. So I started my practice in March 1st of 1992. Oddly enough, I had this wonderful new client today, referred by just Kiana. Thanks for the shout out, Kiana, and my friend Sharon. And, sometimes you wonder why you have a gap. I usually don't have gaps in my schedule, but last night I thought that's really odd to have a gap in my schedule. I wonder what magical thing's going to happen. And then I got an email late last night. And somebody said, would you be willing to see me? I've got some, my blood work, my vitamin D is really low, and I got some anemia, and I need somebody to help me get well, and I want to do it holistically. So anyhow, I have to tell you, it's just loving on people. That's Scott, how I built my business, just caring about people because people cared about me, and I'm just giving back to the Fingstons and the Lakins and the Yennies, all those people that have poured into Michelle Robin, who was a kid at risk that by all means shouldn't be having this conversation with you today, but here I am.
And then one quick question, if I'm in Blue Springs, or if I'm in Western Lenexa, or if I'm in Odessa or Raymore Peculiar, and I'm not located near your office, and I need help figuring out what I need for my own personal wellness, you also connect people all throughout the metro, and not even to your own clinics. You help them connect to other folks that are well represented and well thought of in the community. How did you get to do that?
Well, I'm a connector. My middle name probably should have been Connection. I probably was a clue back in the late 90s, 1997-ish, when I thought of the tagline, Your Wellness Connection. That was the tagline for my business. Now it's our business name, and our tagline's a wellness partnership. And being well is a partnership. And I really had the light bulb go on big time when one of my clients said, I've got the best massage therapist. You tell me you have the best anybody in healthcare. Best MD, best chiropractor, best acupuncturist. I'm like, okay. And I'm like a little kid chasing a dog on a bone. And so I go check them out. And oddly enough, she did have a really great massage therapist. And here's what's magical, Scott. He was 1 block from my house. And I thought, you know what? This is the magic, because it needs to be convenient. And for me, I really want to see our planet get more well and the people on it. Because if we want to talk about people are sick because of 2 reasons, they're toxic or they're deficient. Okay, just like water. Zeke's pounding down that water today, and he's going to drink that water so that he can be a grape and not a raisin, right? And that helps the skin, it helps the organs, it helps all the musculoskeletal system. And so we're toxic and hate, or we're deficient in love. And so how can we really love people? And the way you love people is you make it more convenient. And it's got to be convenient to be well, as people won't take the time. And I believe centers like us should be family wellness centers, because kids need care more than ever right now. The mental health crisis we're in prior to COVID was not so great, and now it's shooting up, and it's going to be really fascinating to be on this side of the coin. So to answer your question, it's got to be convenient, and it's got to be somebody who really values other relationships. And so I'm all about trying to help people find somebody that's convenient for them, because I would not want to drive 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I would like to drive or walk to my appointments. And so sometimes I go to a chiropractor that's about a 4-minute drive from my house. And, and I have a center with, 25 practitioners here. And sometimes, yes, I see them, they're down the hall, but like a lot of people, you don't take time at your own house. Sometimes you are so busy taking care of other people that you don't slow down enough. So that's why, Scott, we've got to help each other. We're all connected. And the more that you're well, the people are around you get more well, because it just ripples out their way. So that's a long answer for your short question.
Yeah, I do want to say, I know people that drive 30, 40 minutes to see Dr. Robin. So that does happen.
Very true.
If you're that good.
As they should. Zeke, you probably think I'm weird because I'm a huge fan of yours, and sought you out, and just think that, your tenacity to blaze your own trail is awesome. So give us your story of how you are, what you're doing today, and then also tell us a little bit about your show.
Yes. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Ms. Erin. Thank you, Scott, for bringing me here today. Honestly, I am amazed. I'm a fan of your show. I watched from the back end of things, and now I'm on it. So I'm like, yo, let's get it. 2020 didn't start so good, but I think it's coming back up like stock. So I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited. And I want to say this too. Mr. Erin, you are awesome, fantastic. I don't know how you do it. You run 2-minute business, and you have a live show and other podcasts, so you do amazing. Mr. Scott, fantastic. I'm a fan. And Paul, I see your posts every day. You're like motivational, so hands on. Dr. Robin, I don't know you that much, but I'm looking forward to getting to meet you. But yeah, so coming back to me, my name is Zeke Nganga, and I am originally from Nigeria. I came to Kansas City in 2016. I want to go into civil engineering, but I had way too much energy, and I have a little bit of OCD. So I was like, I don't think this is going to work for me. So in 2018, I switched my major to business, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm in business administration with emphasis in finance. And fast forward, 2018 fall semester, I left UMKC for about a couple months, and then came back to UMKC, and I read, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Power of Subconscious Mind. And when I read all those books, I was trying to figure out, like, how can I bring value to other people? How can I be able to help young people be inspired to pursue their purpose? So I was just thinking along those lines of what can I build, and I literally told, I think it was 2 of my friends, I told them I'm starting an organization in 2 weeks, and we're just going to be talking about purpose, just faith, and being able to understand who we are. And they were like, yeah, we should do it. I thought it was going to say no, but they're like, it's a cool idea. So that day came, and literally I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to do, but we had that meeting, and ever since then, the group started growing. And the podcast started in, I think it was spring semester 2019. That's when I started the podcast, and the goal for the podcast was just to get students, leaders, just talk about inspiration and motivation. And basically, I see that most students just go get a degree, but I believe it's not the degree you get, it's how valuable are you, what can you bring to the marketplace. And being able to connect people who have value is something that I'm really passionate about, and that's why I bring people who know what they're doing to come and tell me what they're doing, because I don't really know a lot about it. So that's kind of what I do with Fight Up KC. And I'm a person who's passionate about meeting people, learning, and being able to motivate and inspire young people, because I came from a really small town in Nigeria, a really poor town. So coming and being exposed to this Kansas City culture, diversity, it was a big hit for me. And this is one funny thing though. When I came to Kansas City, because I saw, movies, New York City, Atlanta, all the tall buildings and everything. And then I came to Kansas City, and it was like my small apartment. And I was like, dang, okay, this is pretty cool. I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. But it was a challenge just being able to transition from coming to a really small town to a big city in Kansas City. So I think it was a challenge for me, but being able to learn and put myself in different situations has helped me so far. So I'm honored to be here, and I want to be part of the conversation today. So thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah, absolutely, Zeke. And I highly encourage people to listen to your show because it is pretty cool how things line up, and by taking chances and taking risk and putting yourself out there, you're a really young age of connecting other business leaders in Kansas City. So it's wonderful. One thing that the two most underrated things about Paul Long is a lot of people know him for a lot of different things, but one, he is brutally hilarious. Like one of the more funnier people I think you can meet in Kansas City. And number two, I would pay to just have him think out loud in different business meetings with CEOs and CFOs, because his intellect takes you directions that you may not think. And so, Paul, a lot of people know you for a lot of things, but how the heck did you get to Kansas City and get going? What's the origin of your story to then what you're doing today?
Oh, we're doing an X-Men's origin story? Perfect. First of all, born and raised, son. Like this is life. Kansas City is community, something that has always been near and dear to my heart. Before I answer your question, shout out to two LinkedIn legends. You hear that, Aaron? I'm referencing you as a LinkedIn legend, the queen of LinkedIn. Scott, you and I had the opportunity to connect, had an absolute blast. Dr. Robin, I had the opportunity to be on your podcast. It was a blessing. Zeke, your passion is second to none. I mean, like, I'm hype. You commented on our post today, and I was like, let's go. It's like double Dutch. I'm like, can I get in? Can I get in? Can I get in? But Scott, so you wore a tuxedo shirt to our first interaction on the podcast. You got it on again. Like, I wore something.
All I wear.
I wore something special for you. Do you
Ric Flair, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's Ric Flair, wheeling and dealing.
Snake boots, Cadillac.
Origins. I grew up in a small town called Osawatomie, Kansas, home of the state hospital. So if you ever wonder why I am the way that I am, now you know. So, Dr. Michelle, you and I have something in common. We both grew up in small towns. You're from Parsons. We also have something else in common. My first job out of college, and I am a UMKC Roo, Zeke, so represent.
Go Roo.
Bouncing to the top, was the first job I ever had was Farmers Insurance. I was an underwriter in a call center. And the location at the time is now the Cleveland Chiropractic School off of 435. It was purchased by Cleveland. So we have a lot of crossing points, if you will. The universe is a crazy place. Somebody recently asked me on one of my posts, what do your kids think you do? What do your kids think you do for a living? And so I thought, what an awesome opportunity. So I asked our little 7-year-old girl, Adeline Grace, what is it that you think Dad does? And she said, twofold. You speak and you help people have more fun in life. And I thought, wow, like that is amazing. So my journey has culminated in a speaking career, but long before that, it was challenges and filled with trials and tribulations and self-discovery moments and toxicity, as you mentioned, Dr. Robin. And so every single one of those moments kind of led me down a path to get me to self-discover what it was that I was truly passionate about. And I admire individuals like Zeke that find that at 2014, because I can honestly say that I didn't find it until I was 30, 31 years old. And it started with a cat singlet. So I don't know if I directly
show it to us.
What'd you say?
Can you show it to us?
Oh,
Show us the iconic.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, my buddy and I, in 2014, we wore one of these ugly things out to Royals Kauffman Stadium during the World Series run. Yes, sir. Scott.
Do you wear that when you do your speak? Not wear it. I mean, do you show it when you do your speaking engagements? Is like, hey, this is kind of because Joel Goldberg does his pants he bought at Walmart when he went to the White House. And Harry Campbell does a Metamucil shirt for being the number one and the number two business. And so is yours the cat singlet is the prop?
I do break it out. I don't wear it, but I have it under under the podium, you know, one of the things that I find has really worked for me is being present and engaged with audiences. I don't talk at people, I talk with them. So it really is an experience. It's almost theatrical. And so when I get into that particular story, it's based off of the foundation of mental health. And Dr. Robin, you said that, you know, we're living in a crazy place right now. Well, mental health conditions, according to the World Health Organization over the course of the last decade, are up 13%. And that's not even counting the pandemic time, right? I mean, we haven't seen the impact that what we're going through is really going to play on society's mindset. And so the exercise and wearing these wrestling singlets, and when I do bring it up on stage, is just to showcase what could happen when you get out of your head and stop worrying about what people think about you, because they don't really think about you.
And so today, your business that you are working is speaking across the country, but you also do consulting as well?
Yes, sir. So I am primarily a keynote speaker. I do consulting services. Yesterday was my first on-site. I went to Des Moines, Iowa, and got the opportunity to sit down with an executive board on a project that we had been working on over 4 months ago, and finally got the opportunity to work through that with the client themselves. But I'm an author. I'm a podcaster like everybody here. But most importantly, I just like to reveal the opportunity that others have to have a little bit better time in life.
Yeah, and then one last thing. Go ahead, Erin.
I'm just going to say, I think it was really important. I think we kind of grazed over too much. Can you say the comment again about how we're all concerned about what people think about us, but they're not really thinking about us?
Yeah. So my buddy put it really harsh. You know, somebody said it far more intelligently. They said you wouldn't be concerned about what everybody thought about you if you realized how little they actually do. But my buddy Chad Carden, he put a lot more harsh. He said, don't worry about what people think about you, because they don't think about you. Right. And of course, just a little context. We're not saying that there aren't people out there that don't love you a great deal and admire your passion, Zeke, or, you know, follow you guys' podcast. We're not saying that. What I'm saying is, as you interact with folks, you meet people for the first time, or you're on a show like this, we're in our head about everything that we said and everything we did and how we were received. When the truth of the matter is, nobody's thinking about us as much as we are. And so when you relieve yourself from that, it's very freeing. It's very it's exhilarating to know that you could be your authentic self, and the people that appreciate it are going to roll with you, and those that don't, well, you don't need them.
Love that.
Dr. Michelle Robin, what are your thoughts on that? I was going to segue into tell us a recent win, but I think it's interesting because you don't allow negative people anywhere near you, and you're always hanging out with positive people. How did you come to do that, and why do you do it?
Well, first of all, thanks for the compliment, because there are people around me that maybe are not operating at the highest vibration, but I'm around people all day long, and some are experiencing traumas, little T's or big T's, and the big T's could be a job loss, or their parents are ill and they can't see them, or the little T's of trying to decide, okay, the fear and the anxiety of what's next and the uncertainty. So I want you to know I'm around people that are struggling every day, and I just try to help reframe it. It's really about managing your state and trying to, and Paul said it, staying more present in this gift of time. Because if we all started thinking about tomorrow or 6 months from now, then we would continue to have more anxiety. One of my favorite quotes is, when you have guilt, you're living in the past, and when you have anxiety, you're living in the future. So try to live more in today's time. And so, but I do think it's important for you to manage who you spend time with, because it's either lifting you up or it's tearing you down. And we need to be around people in this moment that are good examples of positive people, and not just positive words they're saying, but also the way they're living their life, whether it's going through a walk or whether it's cheering on people that are doing great work in our community, in our world. So just little things like that. So I want to tell you, there's people in my awareness every day. The question is, how much time do you give them? It's interesting. One of my favorite apps this year is the 5-minute journal. And They've got 5 questions a day. I've committed to 2. I'm glad it's an app because I can actually read my writing because it's typed. And my assistant said to me today, how many times a day do you say? I wonder what that says, something I've written. But anyhow, one of the things I'm most grateful for this week is perspective. And with age comes wisdom. With wisdom comes perspective. And I think that's what we've got to do with everything that's happening in our moments right now, so that it doesn't steal us of more moments. So that may not answer your question, but I think perspective helps.
No, definitely did. I think, and I love that Paul does a wonderful job of always thinking of insightful things that we're all thinking about and being top of mind. So I think that's why a lot of the times we're all listening to each other on our podcasts, is because we're talking about topical things. Zeke, for you probably had a lot of people that told you to maybe quit or stop doing what you're doing, or why are you doing this? You're in school. Why are you trying to connect with business people? So kind of talking on that negative energy, what advice have you gotten to block out that negative energy? Or are you just someone inherently that's positive, optimistic, and how do you get things done, and how do you stay so positive?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I wake up almost at 2 a.m. some mornings, and those voices come to me, and they just like bubble into my head, and I go, you know what? I'm just gonna sleep. Let's just sleep and wake up tomorrow morning. Because coming up with my show and what I want to do, it's just been, why do you want to do this? Like, why don't you get a normal degree, get a job? And I'm like, but really, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? Like, literally, I have an opportunity to create something that is gonna give a foundation to younger people. So for me, honestly, I've quit so many times in my room. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I wake up like, why am I even doing this? But again, it's that one person that texts me like, yo, Zeke, I just watched your show. It was so awesome. You're doing great. I'm like, okay, I got one person. That's all I needed. And it's always that one thing that happens that always keeps me going. And I think for me personally, I think going back to what Paul was saying, it's as a young person, I think I represent Gen Z and millennials all together. I'm at an age where people's voices matter more than my voice so much. It's like, what are people saying about me? I am so concerned that sometimes I want to do just so people can see me and say he's doing good. And literally, if you go on my LinkedIn page, I said I only hang around OQP people, which is only quality people. Basically, it's the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with is what you become. And if you do not hang out with the right people, you become that thing. I'm gonna use this quote. I think it was from Jay Shetty. He said, "Today, I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I should be." I'm gonna say it again. Today, I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I should be. So basically, sometimes the things we perform, like if I'm broke, I don't mind being broke because I know I have a vision. But my thing is, what are people thinking about me being broke? That is my most fear. It's not really me being broke, because I can manage myself being broke. But I think that's the narrative that goes in people's minds, why they do not pursue their goals, because they say, what if I failed? What would someone say? Because honestly, failure, to me personally, is not going to hurt me because I'm going to get back up. But what hurts me more is not even me getting back up. It's someone that's saying, oh, he failed. But at some point in life, I think if you're able to get above that voice and keep waking up every day and keep doing what you do, at some point, other people are going to be like, you know what? We tried him, but yeah, he proved himself right. So for me, honestly, just doing it. I tell people, I just do it. I just go do it. If I have that voice and say don't do it, I go do it. I had a summer, I think it was in 2019. My co-host quit, went to a different state. My other co-host also quit. The guy who was helping with camera quit. It was only me doing the summer shows the whole time, and I was driving from Iowa to Kansas City every single day to do the show. And I was like, I think this is it. But again, I was like, nope, it can't be this. I've come too far. I've come too far to stop here. And I think the one thing I really got that really has made me keep pushing is this. I don't know. I think it was TD Jakes who said it. He says, if you invest so much in something you believe in, it's going to be hard for you to step away. It's too easy. For me, I've invested so much in what I'm doing that I can't just step away. I'm like, no, I've gone past failing now. It's not me just pushing through. So honestly, I don't care anymore. I don't care about what people say or what they think. I just believe in what I believe in, because I know that thing is going to be a vision for the future. So, yeah. I think Mr. Aaron wanted to say something.
I just want to say something because you are 24, and I remember at 20. First of all, you're way farther ahead than I was at 24.
All of us.
What I
No, you guys are awesome.
I'll just speak for me and Scott. But, you know, they are going to talk if you feel, but they also talk when you succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the talk's even harder when you succeed because you don't think that's going to happen, right? At least it was for me. And so I would just encourage you to not care if they talk at all. I'm in marketing, so I'm at the point where I'm like, at least they're talking, right?
Yeah. I think my roommate he made a quote the other day that really got to me. It was really funny. He said the haters pay more attention to you than people who actually love you. So they should keep paying attention to you. So it's good, you know.
Paul, we're segueing to you in general, but as a reminder, Aaron's going to take over in about a couple minutes and going to be asking live Q&A. So please get your questions in. We'll probably have a lot of questions with this panel. So if you want your question in, definitely type it in now. Paul, we'll just go on the comment you were going to have in general. I don't want to change your thought.
Well, it's right in line with what everybody's saying. And Zeke, I really want to applaud you, man. At 24, to be more specific, just remove your age. If you were 55 years old talking about what you're talking about right now, I would applaud you just as hard. And specifically, what I really admire is that comment that you made, that my voice doesn't matter as much as everybody else does. That is profound, man. And the reason why it really struck me is because in your intro, you said that your energy and OCD got you out of the civil engineering major, right? And into business. Yeah. And that was similar to my journey. Like, I didn't know, I was just throwing all my energy at something. I knew I had to declare a major. So I said business, because that's the most broad. And what I would say that if indeed we, individuals like you and I would argue Scott and Dr. Michelle and Aaron are very similar as well. If we throw that energy at showing a genuine interest in others and being present, then believe it or not, the haters start to dissipate. They start to mitigate themselves. Now, what I mean by that is I'm certain, 100% certain that there are people out there that don't like me or don't like my content or whatever it may be. I can honestly say that I rarely ever hear it. Like, I don't know that I've had one person come up to me after a keynote and say, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I rarely see it on social media. Now, I believe that the only reason why that happens is because my heart is so open and transparent, and that my desire is truly about helping people get better. That if indeed you present yourself that way and you're authentic, it's very difficult to come back and say, man, screw that person, right? Because their heart is pure. And so I feel in you, Zeke, and Dr. Robin, obviously, and you, Aaron, and Scott, and all of our conversations, that we're all wired very similarly. So the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter if they're talking, so long as you know that you're putting goodness out into the world. Yes,
yes, yes. I think we need like what is it called? The sound effects right now. Like, we need that sound effects right now, because he just reached. There we go. There we go. That's how you got to do it. Let's go. Get it.
I want to echo Paul and Zeke, and I believe one of my teachers years ago, 30 years ago, said everybody has on their forehead these four letters, MMFI. MMFI, make me feel important. So care enough to look at my soul instead of my role. And so, Zeke, I would say, I started my practice at the age of 25, and it's been such a journey. And if I would give myself any advice, it'd be to stay in your lane, because everybody, people, you have such good energy. People may try to pull you off a little bit, but stay true to that inner knowing and the voice that we all need to listen to, because we all have people that don't really appreciate who we are, and for whatever reason. And I know I'm that way. And one of my teachers said to me years ago that in a room of 100 people, 50 love you, 50 don't. Don't kid yourself. And so just keep being your authentic self and living to what your soul assignment is. And I believe we're all doing our soul assignment right now. And so I commend you to staying in your own lane. But MMFI, make me feel important.
I love
that with me. Taking it.
Okay, so I'm going to start going through questions. So start getting all your questions asked. The one thing I want to make sure that I ask before we get off of here, so I'm going to do it now so I don't forget, is we've made mention a few times that everybody on here has a show and or a podcast. So can we just go in a quick circle? We'll start with you, Michelle. We'll go in the same order. And can you tell everybody the name of your show and or podcast and where to find it?
Small Changes, Big Shifts. You can find it on iTunes, on, I don't even know, all the things. You can find it everywhere. So Small Changes, Big Shifts. We're in our 7th season, just had Paul on, and it's really around the quadrants of well-being, living yourself from a whole person health, mechanical, chemical, energetical, psycho-spiritual. It's not a business show. There's plenty of people that are experts on that, but we're just trying to help people live their best version of themselves through whole person health.
Zeke.
Are we going to meet? Me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so my show is called Fired Up KC, and I'm on Spotify and YouTube. And also you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well at Fired Up KC. And basically my show is about I bring on leaders who would honestly would not meet with me unless I had a show. So I bring top leaders to my show to just give them a platform just to talk about who they really are, just being human beings. Because I think that's something that we miss in leaders. We think they're this, people put on a pedestal, but actually at the forefront of it, they're just people who are doing what they love doing. So that's what I do on my show. I bring people on my show because I'm a student. A lot of students, they focus so much on building a resume and, getting those grades up but they don't really know who the leaders are. So my thing is to bring those leaders to shake them and say, yo, I'm a human like you and I want to talk to you. And, that's what my show is about. So Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Fired Up KC.
Nice. All right, Paul.
The Fundamism podcast, spelled right there, just as it sounds. Didn't necessarily think about that when I came up with the idea in terms of marketing. Everybody says fundamentalism. Is that a thing? No, it's not that. Fundamism.com is where you can find it. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. The purpose or goal of the podcast is to showcase what can happen when you stop asking the same questions that everybody else is and you make them feel important, Dr. Robin. Scott Havens has been on. Aaron's scheduled for next week. Next week, Dr. Robin has committed to being on. And Zeke, you're a logical next guest. Obviously, we've had Abby Eden, UFC fighter James Krause, Travis Kelce, everybody who has something that they do for fun and is willing to have fun and get real. That's what we're all about.
I love it. Okay, I want to make sure that we show. So Kyle was just really excited. He's going to watch the replay. But he wanted to say hello to everybody. Lindsay, you were right, Lindsay. This is a pretty energetic panel today. So she's excited to learn more. Julian Wright.
Yes.
Yeah, right here. Former NBA player. Big deal right here, Rock Chalk. So we met the other day. We had a call, and he is stepping up his marketing right there. So I did want to address this, Nathan. We always post it in the show right when it starts or in our page. So go back and like our Drinks with Leaders page right there. Megan loves the high energy and positivity of this group. Jermaine Jameson says your success will equal your effort. Hashtag, I like this hashtag, emerge, evolve, excel. So lots of awesome stuff going here. Zeke, Melissa Montoya says, very interesting you say that. Moving from Nicaragua to a small town in South Dakota, there were no tall buildings as well there. So she was very interested. So I will tell you, I just went to New York for the first time at 39. So you got lots of time to see those big tall buildings. I'm going to get into some of my questions while people ask them. I think people are just like so zoned in that I want to kind of start. So a little bit of my pack history. I stalked Dr. Robin way before I ever met her. It was like my dream to get like one-on-one with her. And so she has since become a very, very good friend, a very, very good mentor, and very, very good to my family. Dr. Robin, what you bring that nobody else on this panel has is you have over 25 years experience in your business, right? And so you were one of my first calls during the pandemic. We talked and you were so chill. Like you were just so chill about it. And I imagine that's where that experience comes in. Can you kind of share what some of your biggest lessons that you maybe were freaking out about at the beginning? Because this is really where we bonded is I'll freak out over stuff and you're like, take a breath. What some of those biggest lessons have been since you've been in business so long and you've kind of seen how everything has evolved over time?
Sure, Aaron. Well, first of all, when we started the pandemic, hard to believe, over 90 days ago, that when I woke up one morning, and if you pay attention, you'll hear when your spirit speaks to you. For me, it's either in the shower or that last hour or two before I get up in the morning. And I woke up with a mantra in my mind, replaying in my mind that said, Michelle, you're going to have to find some resilience. You're going to have to build some resilience during this reset. Okay. So find a rhythm to build resilience during this reset. So, I have, just like, I have a center, 25-ish people that work here, acupuncturists, chiropractors, and I have to tell you, I've always tried to be a bridge for people, for communities, non-traditional, traditional. How are you bridge, knowing that we're all a part of the equation? And sometimes there's people on the far right and far left, and, is this really a conspiracy? Is it really a big deal? And so I had to really sit with that and go, okay, what's the next best decision? And so, first of all, I've learned perspective, another level of perspective during the pandemic. I also learned that you just have to do the next right thing. For instance, the next right thing for us is we just went mandatory masks, temperature checks at the door. And I just told my providers, that's what we're doing. And I know some of you, it's totally against your belief system wearing a mask. However, to work in this facility, that's what we're gonna have to do. And that was a hard decision. So it's just doing the next right thing. So the things I've learned, because I've kept a little pearls list. So I'm part of the Hellsberg Entrepreneurial Mentoring Program, and we're always searching for pearls. And that's a Barnettism. And one of the pearls was really make today count. Make today count, or make the time count. And really search your soul for what's your lane. I'm loving the pandemic life at some level. I have a new studio office. I'm in a makeshift studio today. It's so fun. I'm going to take a picture and send it to you. But I'm loving my new life. My corporate clients have just been very supportive, and I've done more public speaking in the last 6 weeks than I did the last year because of the demand for the health and wellness space. And it allows me to be creative. So the biggest thing is really making the time count and practicing self-care. If we do have another round of COVID-19, whether it's coming on right now, or it's 6 months from now, or 6 years from now, or 60 years from now, you want to put the odds in your favor. And the way you do that is by investing in your well-being, by taking time to eat the right vegetables, or go for exercise, or whether it's getting a massage, or the chiropractor, or acupuncture, or maybe just sleeping. That's my biggest advice. Do not give up on sleep right now. Sleep will help your immune system 6 times. It'll increase it 6 times. So do not be skipping on your sleep right now. So that's why I always harass you about it, Aaron. Sleep, 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 sleep.
The thing I always keep in my mind is I have called you every time I've failed at something, and you always said, were you doing the best you knew then? And the answer is always yes, because you never don't do your best, right? Or at least I don't. And that's always made me feel good. So I like that you said you're doing the best thing. Okay, let's see. I think this one's cool. Let's start with you, Zeke, on this one. Who is either a mentor or someone you looked up to who has had the biggest impact on your life or your passion? Let's start with you, Zeke, and we'll go around.
Yes, I would say Dr. Miles Monroe. He's more of like he passed away already, but he's a motivational speaker / inspirational speaker, and his messages really dug deep into me because he has this quote, and this is my most famous quote that I quote everywhere. He says that the richest place in the universe, in the world, is not Beverly Hills. It's not the oil wells in the Middle East. It's not the beaches in the Bahamas. He said it's the graveyard where people with potentials, with books, with music that never got actualized, they die with it. And he says, as you are alive today, are you going to die with your inspiration? Are you going to die with your vision because you're scared to step out? So he said, are you going to die empty or die with all you have in you? So his speeches and what he teaches really got to me. And I'm like, what am I doing in my life? Why am I staying still? Why don't I just leave it all out there? Like, why do I have to play it safe? Because at the end of the day, it's like, I think Kevin Hart said it right. He says that our life is like a book. You open it. It's like, what is your book going to be about? What are you going to write about? When people open it, is it going to be a fun book to read, or is it going to be a book of someone who never tried? So I'm like, I better just try and fail than just sit and watch things happen. So if you ever see me in anything I do, I'm always in the fight. I'm never watching things happen. I'm always in there trying to help and see what I can do. So that has been one person who has really impacted my life so much. And there's the list goes on and on. Going to Napoleon Hill and the book that he has, it's just, his books are just mind blowing. You know, Think and Grow Rich. There's one, Out Within the Devil. It's just, so those are the people who really, really inspire me a lot. So that has been one person that just hit me hard, and ever since I never went back.
Awesome. How about you, Paul? Who's a mentor or someone you looked up to? First
of all, can I just give props for someone quoting Kevin Hart and not his shenanigans, but rather something. Hey, so
great documentary.
And I'm going to break that down into two parts, because I think that when we think about individuals that have mentored or that we looked up to as a mentor or have impacted our life, we could look at it two different ways. So I gravitate always to really strong or historically in the past, strong male leaders because of the absence of one in my life, or at least my perception of that. So one of the most significant leaders that I had in my life that I look up to was a gentleman by the name of Rod Johnson. I called him Rod the God with the bod. He was the senior VP with my first organization. And I remember I wasn't selected for an emerging leaders program when I was like 24. And when I got the feedback, I was up in arms. I was emotional. I think I cried. I was frustrated. I was mad. And his office was the first one that I ran to. And he said, "You sit your butt down." And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And he goes, "What's one person's feedback of you?" And I said, "Well, I guess it's their opinion." He said, "Have you ever heard this feedback before? Have you ever heard this opinion?" And I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Well, why the hell are you letting it drive your emotions so much?" He said, "If you haven't heard it before, what I want you to do is I want you to, first of all, look internally, self-reflect, see if there's any truth to it, but then don't toss it away. Put it in your pocket for a rainy day." Fast forward 3 years later, I heard the exact same feedback. And so that was really insightful to me to say, you know what, maybe I'm a little emotional when I hear what people are saying or doing. And so obviously, as you guys heard what I said earlier, it shaped my perspective now in not caring so much. On the opposite end of the spectrum, as I mentioned, gravitating towards successful male leaders, because I didn't necessarily have one. I look at my father. My father was amazing. He was gregarious. He was funny. He thrived in relationships. Everything that you guys were so kind and saying that you experienced with me, I got from my father. But my father was also an addict. He wasn't present a lot. He was very selfish. And as a result, I looked at my father and I saw all the amazing traits that he had. And I saw all the things that I didn't want to become. And ultimately, it led me down the path of where I am today. So my challenge to everybody is don't just look for leaders that are shaping you in a positive light. You could also learn from other individuals that you don't want to become and let that be a guiding light in your journey as well.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's really good advice. Michelle, do you have a mentor that you look up to?
Wow.
You're everyone's mentor.
No, thank you. So I want to stick with what Paul said. I was wondering where to go with this question. And I remember Dr. Yenny, and Dr. Yenny was President Truman's interpreter. And he he's from Independence, Missouri, loved the Asian lifestyle. And so he could speak it fluent. He actually looked Asian when he died, even though he was Irish American, right? And Dr. Yenny said the first time I met him is, "Michelle, I want you to learn two things from me: what to do and what not to do. And what to not to do is just as important." So I would say Dr. Yenny has been huge because of the Asian philosophy. Everything I do is a whole person health model, and that's really the Asian philosophy of looking at this vehicle. This is the most amazing machine we'll ever have. It's better than any Tesla, better than any Mac, better than any iPhone you can get. And the problem is we don't necessarily put in the right mindset, the right fuel, the right motion. And we wonder why we're not getting the results we want to get. So I would say Dr. Yenny's probably had the most profound, but I could not have met Dr. Yenny had I not met Dr. Lakin, who is my chiropractor who started pouring into me. And, you know, I'm not a scientist. And he would say to me, "I'm a better scientist than I was before, but at the age of 16, I was not a scientist." He said, "You know, you can be anything you think you can be." And so he started teaching me to read the books by Leo Buscaglia and Napoleon Hill and start to pour into that. And that's probably the biggest thing, anybody listening. If you are struggling in your life, you got to see not only who you're hanging out with, but who you're putting in your mind, what podcasts you're listening to, what books you're studying, what music you're listening to, so that it can build you up, because we all have that good and that bad committee. And whatever you're feeding is what's going to come out. And so feed yourself good food and lots of love and positive perspective, because you know what, the world's full of SHIT right now. I can say shift, but it's full of a lot of shift right now. We've got to stay rooted in. So anyhow, I could go on and on. There's been so many people that have poured into me.
There are strict rules against using cuss words on LinkedIn Live, so I appreciate you spelling that out. Paul?
I don't want to monopolize this, but something that you said, Michelle, not just now, but earlier on, and Zeke, you said it as well. Michelle, when we talked on your podcast, we talked about the ear gate, right? Not allowing a lot of negativity to take over your life. And Zeke, you just referenced, you become the average of the 5 or 7 people closest to you. It's imperative that you're very aware, that we are very aware of what we're letting in. However, I do think it's also important to expand our worldview and perspective by showing an interest in things that make us uncomfortable, by asking questions and creating environments of self-discovery. A very specific example, I'm reading a book right now. I can't say the title because it has a curse word in it, but it's by Vishen Lakhiani, and it's called The Buddha and the Bad A. I don't know if I could say that or not, but nevertheless, he says that true growth takes place in times of discomfort and insight, not apathy. And so why do I say that? Discomfort and insight and not apathy. Well, I had to block my first couple of social media followers ever for the first time last week and this week. And it wasn't because they were saying something that I disagreed with, which I didn't necessarily agree with their opinion. But what it was their lack of willingness to ask questions, their lack of willingness to act interested in hearing a perspective other than your own, or their own. So my challenge is, before you shut people out, make sure we're doing a good job of asking questions to gain insight, to ensure that maybe, just maybe, we couldn't potentially grow from having this individual in our life and expanding our worldview.
That's an amazing point. You actually did a video on that today that I watched.
Thank you for watching it.
We're starting to get a lot of questions. This was my fear, you guys. Ask your questions early next time so we can get to all of them. What I do want to do is I want to try to get to these really quick. We've got about 9 minutes, so if everybody will give real quick answers. I know that's a lot to ask you guys. But the first one is Nathan. That's the one we just asked. Okay, I asked those out of order. What advice would you give to the next generation when thinking about their future and finding their passion? And Zeke, I think this is also very important to hear from you, because I think you are on another level than a lot of your generation, who we typically think of as the next generation, right? So let's just go in a circle again. We'll start with you, Michelle, go Zeke, and Paul. Answer quickly.
Really quick. I would have them keep a big whiteboard, T down the middle, love, don't love. And when you have a moment where you feel like I am in my joy, I am present, I am rocking it, write that moment down. And when you have moments where you feel like, oh, that was not my favorite thing to do, write that down. And then if you start to keep track, you'll find out what's pulling your heart. Like, I love young people, I love young people. So I try to spend as much time around them as I can. Next.
Thank you.
Okay, that's me. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, is to hear from everyone on this planet, because you guys have way more wisdom. I'm the youngest here. So, but I would say this, an advice to the next generation is, I think it's something everyone has heard it probably many times now, but it's just dream big. I would say have a vision of what you want to be. Don't think about how you're going to get it. Just envision it. And I don't say that lightly just to say it. I'll give you an example. I grew up in Nigeria, and I grew up in a really poor town. And I kid you not, I think I was probably 9 or 8. I used to watch a lot of American movies, so I had all American movies playing in my head all the time. So I'll be cleaning my dad's car, and I literally would see myself walking in the streets of the United States and doing stuff in the United States, just walking around, talking to people and just hanging out and doing stuff. And I was just playing that in my head as a movie of me being the character in that movie. And I just keep playing. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but here I am today. It's happening. So it's just whatever you want, envision it. And this is not just me just talking positive stuff. I'm just telling you that if you can envision it, you can have it happen. You know, I don't know how it came to pass, but you know, I put it out there, and you know, somewhere in line, you know, things work together, and I'm here today. So I've always been able to, even though I'm afraid, because the truth is this: reality will be reality. You will see negative things happen to you, but then you have to have a mental, strength to be able to see yourself after what's happening. Like, what is it going to be after that? Is it going to be the same thing? So I just say, as a young person who's trying to pursue a passion, always see yourself achieving what you want to do, and not be afraid of how you're going to do it, because how you're going to do it, it's not always going to be you. Things are going to work together for you to make it happen. So have a goal, dream for it, and then just walk towards it, and things will just line up. You'd be amazed. Like, I'm on LinkedIn with Mrs. Aaron and Scott here today. I'm with all this awesome leaders. I don't even know how I got here, but again, that vision, you know, you have it, you work on it, and it works out. So that's what I'm going to say. Just have a vision, work towards it, and believe. I pray too, so pray.
For individuals that are on LinkedIn watching this show, you're ingesting this because you feel like you could potentially get better. And so a lot of top performers in life, we tend to gravitate very much to our areas of opportunity. We run to them, and they weigh heavily on them, and we're constantly trying to close the gap. My challenge, not just to the next generation, but everybody ingesting this, every person in life, is run, gravitate, be as diligent as you are in finding the things that give you joy and strength and fulfillment as you do running to your opportunity gaps. And here's why. We all convince ourselves that we can't make a living, do what we love. You could literally make a living doing everything on the planet that you love. And Zeke said it best. Like, I found my passion and I was resilient and threw my energy at it. If you're convincing yourself that you can't, it's solely because you believe that you can't, and not because that's a reality. It's your reality.
Right. Awesome. That was good. Okay. Dr. Robin, I want you to answer this question, because I think that you, out of everybody that I know, have grown a very successful, long-lasting business, right? And so if you can try to remember, and I'll show your faces here in a second, guys, but when you were trying to start a business and you are new in the industry, because I think that's a lot of us on this call, it feels very overwhelming to think about all the things that need to get done. At what point do you say, I need a break? Or do you think, as someone that's been in business over 25 years, do you keep pushing at that point? Or is there a happy medium spot that's hard? It's just hard to find.
Well, I believe we should not lose our health for wealth. You know, there's a saying by the Dalai Lama, you guys are so funny, you give up your health for wealth and you give up your wealth for health. So I think the time that you really need to seriously reevaluate is when you find your health lacking, because your health is your greatest gift that you could have. So that would be my number one. And, you know, I would say you've got to continue to dial in. I love, Zeke, that you brought up praying. I think you've got to dial into your inner knowing. And you know what? I'm going to pivot. You know, I think the lesson from COVID is pivot. Think about what you love to do and really pay attention. So I would say do the next right thing. And when you find out of the next right thing to do and you don't have anything else of the next right thing to do, then it's probably time to take a break. But I've always lived by the purpose of taking a week off a quarter since my very first year in practice. I'm in my 28th season, and I've missed very few quarters where I've taken a week off, because you've got to take time to regenerate so you can be vivacious and generous with your time and your spirit.
That's awesome. I'm going through these comments. We're going to continue to get questions. I'm going to ask everybody to follow all of our guests, because I follow all of them. And it is, I mean, this passion is not, it's not light. This is what they're putting out every day. Scott's got his hand up. Scott loves this.
No. I say follow them. Keep going, Aaron.
Follow all of them, because if you are, like, it looks like, I mean, based on comments alone, everybody's addicted to the passion on here today. So go follow all of them. On your pages, you each have your podcast linked, correct? If not, do it right after this so people can listen to your podcast. So I want to thank everybody for coming on so much today. I have got to give our reminder that if you know somebody that would be an awesome guest, if you want to get a reminder of when the show's about to go on, just text us Drinks with Leaders at 913-298-8790. We are going to do like all of our secret announcements, all our really exciting announcements in here. We're going to ask Julian Wright on, I think. Shouldn't we ask Julian Wright on?
Hey, Paul, did you freak out? Because you weren't looking at the comments, because I was like, oh my God, did he see that Julian Wright just wrote on there? So when Aaron posted it, was that the first time you saw it?
100%. And I just connected. Well, I asked to be connected with him. One of the greatest.
Yeah, I was literally waiting for your face, but I didn't want to get in trouble with Aaron because Aaron reads all the comments. And so I was like, Paul, did you just see Julian Wright? Aaron,
yeah.
Oh, we're all friends. We talked on the phone the other day. So
Julian Wright changed a generation of KU fans and set up the team that ended up winning the national championship. So he lives in folklore in Paul and I's heart.
You guys need to put me on.
So sports. So hashtag sports, right? So
take that, Bill Goldberg.
We're pretty much sports reporters. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Go make sure you follow everybody on here. We'll make all our exciting announcements here. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for being guests, and we really appreciate it. You have something, or is that, are you just waving? Zeke?
Yeah. No, I just want to say one last thing. Because I want to say thank you for having me on, and I really appreciate for having me on here today. And to you, Mr. Aaron, I just want to say this. I see your page and I see how you've done like all this awesome videos with like Isaac Collins and just supporting Black businesses. And I say you are doing great using your platform. Like I really want to say I appreciate what you do and being able to spread the positivity and using what you have to create awareness and being able to highlight things. So I appreciate you for doing that. And I'm like whenever I see you, I'm like, let's go. I'm excited. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you again for having me on. And I really want to have Paul on my podcast. I haven't had Scott yet because I've had Mr. Aaron.
Look at it.
I haven't had Dr. Robin. So I need to take all of you on my podcast. So you guys have to come on so we can have this energy continue going. So I'm really excited for this. So thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I like when you call me Miss Aaron. That sounds like super fun. So I appreciate it. All right, everyone have a great Tuesday. Thanks, guys.